Well, as a pastor, one of the things that I have the most questions asked about is why is it important to be a committed member of a local church? Why is the local church so important at all? And here at Highview, from the very beginning, we have made a huge emphasis on the local church and teaching people what exactly the local church is all about according to the New Testament. According to the New Testament, here's some of the things used to describe the local church. Christ's body. Romans 12, verse 4. For as in one body we have many members, the members do not all have the same function, so we, though many, are one body in Christ, and individually members one of another. Paul goes on to talk about specific gifts that people within the church have that serve one another. Again, all of this happening within the context of a local church. 1 Peter 5 refers to Christ's local church as God's flock. 1 Timothy 3 refers to it as God's family. We are in the household of God according to verse 15. God's building is what it's referred to in 1 Corinthians 3, specifically in verse 9, for we are God's fellow workers, you are God's field, God's building. Here's the point. In the New Testament, the church is both the universal church, that's all Christians everywhere, but most importantly, it is specific assemblies that represent Christ in this world. We put the alternative rule and reign of Jesus on display for the watching world. The New Testament knows nothing of Christians who do not associate with specific local churches. As a matter of fact, most of your New Testament is written to specific local churches. The church in Colossae, the church in Rome, the church in Thessalonica, and so on and so forth. My point is this: in the New Testament, the local church is critical in the life of a Christian. All Christians are called to make the gospel visible by formally committing to and submitting to a local church where they can be built up, where they can be taught the gospel, where they will hear the gospel regularly, where they will serve others and be held accountable. But I think maybe my best illustration of why the local church is so important is found in Matthew 18. In Matthew 18, Jesus says how Christians are to associate with one another when dealing with sin in one another's life. Jesus talks about if your brother sins against you, go to him one-on-one. In the second step, he says, if your brother sins against you, take someone with you if they do not respond to you alone, so that it may be established in the presence of 2 or 3 witnesses. But then he says, if they still don't listen to the 2 people you bring with you, tell that to the church. Now, if the local church is not important, we're to tell that to the universal church. That's not exactly what Jesus had in mind. What Jesus had in mind is you tell that particular sin, church discipline must be done by a specific local church. Again, submitting to a local church, being a part of a local church is one of the great joys and duties of all Christians everywhere. And I pray that it will be the same for you wherever God has placed you.